Let's go.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the new year, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about K-pop producer-owned companies and why Black Eyed Pilsung is helping STAYC way much better than Ryan Jun with the recently disbanded Bugaboo and Brave Brothers with Brave Girls. Despite all the producers having successful hits under their belts, we have only seen proper success with STAYC. So I've looked into what I consider the necessities using the contrasting differences between the three groups. I'll explain 6 points in order of a K-pop idol's journey and compare how each producer did within these points. Without further ado, let's get into the video. The importance of pre-debut hype lies within the fact that companies that are K-pop producer-owned are not really well known. For example, despite NMIXX having a controversial debut and being trashed, they still did numbers and garnered much attention. All this to say, despite having amazing producers, it is ultimately the idols who are the face of the group, and thus giving them pre-debut activities allows for them to start off with a certain number of eyes and attention. For Brave Girls, the lineup that we know of was not the original lineup. Regardless, only one of the 4 girls had pre-debut activities, that being Minyoung. However, her pre-debut activities was being in another group in 2015 that lasted only their debut, as they disbanded quietly. The issue with this is the lack of pre-debut activities, as technically the success of Minyoung's former group would have meant that she would not have even been in Brave Girls if they did succeed. Bugaboo did slightly better, as 3 out of the 6 girls had pre-debut activities. Jin participated in I Can See Your Voice as a contestant. Eunchae and Choyeon both participated in Produce 48. However, Produce 48 aired in 2018 compared to their debut in 2021. So unless they had some memorable moment, the Produce 48 clout didn't rub off too much considering how poorly it's aged with the rigging controversy. The issue with these activities is that either the activities were a bit too long or it just didn't have the impact to garner the attention for Bugaboo. This is where STAYC differs, as despite Seon also being a former child actress, we would have Seon, who garnered the most attention as a former JYP Entertainment child actress with a famous dad, acting up until the year before she debuted in 2020. As well as that, they all featured in a YouTube docuseries called Kpop Evolutions, in which we were able to view the last few months before they actually debuted. This docuseries highlighted the risk and efforts that idol trainees go through, and thus was a good emotional tool to further garner support to subside the major pitfalls that occurred within the series. All 3 groups garnered attention because of the producer associated with the groups. However, this will also be of little significance if the group debuts around the same time as more established groups. The established groups will already receive most of the attention, and considering how important streaming and achievements are, this means that their debut might go under the radar as all the energy goes towards supporting the other established groups. Thus, there's almost some kind of luck involved, as comebacks are planned in advance, so you never know when anyone will truly come back. Brave Girls would have Sisters come back with I Like That 1 week before them, as well as Taeyeon's comeback of Y 1 day after them. Bugaboo would also suffer with 17's Rock With You comeback, NCT 127's Vampire comeback, and Chonsomi's XOXO comeback. STAYC would initially also face the same issue as aespa, would debut a few days after. However, aespa had been garnering a lot of hate leading up to their debut due to their concept, some of the members' history, and their sudden debut during Irene's attitude scandal. STAYC would almost act as a symbol of boycotting aespa and thus gave them the leg up in a comparison to Bugaboo and Brave Girls. Promotion is another important factor. K-pop producers work behind the scenes of the music, so unless the company has connections, variety programs are a bit more difficult to appear on to receive more attention. Thus, the music has to be the luring tool to garner and maintain a fan base. As well as that, consistency will also be an important factor, especially for rookies, as music is subjective and thus requires more familiarity and chances for listeners to preview new music. This was a major downfall for Brave Girls as explained with the initial hiatus. The current lineup would also face the same issues as 9 months after their reintroduction, they would make one comeback before going on a 3-year hiatus. This would be followed up with a single release of We Ride, which was expected to be their disbandment song. This inconsistency meant their name would start off building slight momentum before completely dropping out of existence. Bugaboo's case was a bit weird as there was an 8-month gap between debut and their first comeback, which was not the worst but also not the best. However, this would be all, as they would then disband after another 8 months. STAYC would be the only group of the three to keep consistency, as they debuted in November 2020 and then would proceed to make 2 comebacks with each following year. Dedication refers to how committed the producers are to the group. One way is by stopping or limiting the external work of writing for other K-pop artists. The common reasoning to continue producing for other groups is that they need more income to continue to support the group that they've produced. However, I believe that the producers shouldn't debut the groups if they're not ready to invest in the groups completely. Similar to the trainees who risk so much, producers should already understand the risk involved unless they've put in the effort to garner their group some attention. Brave Brothers show their little dedication, as you can see through the 2 hiatuses that Brave Girls went through. Notable artists that Brave Brothers have continued to help were AOA and Sister, and thus while those 2 soared with success, Brave Girls stayed in limbo, missing opportunities of achieving that one viral hit earlier than their sleeper hit Rollin'. Bugaboo would also face the same issue in which Ryan Jun would spread his music far and wide as opposed to putting in the effort for Bugaboo. Notable artists that he would work with are IVE, NCT, Luna, and Oh My Girl. A lot of artists were not mentioned too, however he would work with many girl groups with varying concepts and thus leads to the question of why he wasn't able to give these songs to Bugaboo too. STAYC once again would follow a different route, as Black Eyed Peas would gradually stop producing for other groups, with the exception of variety program special one-off songs and title tracks for A-Pink. This paved the way for STAYC to receive Black Eyed Peas' full attention and would allow STAYC to get consistent comebacks that would garner massive attention as the releases would transcend past the clout of an artist's name. K-pop is super saturated, but it's also a contradiction. You may assume musical talent is needed to thrive in this industry. Unfortunately, you won't be able to succeed with just that. You may be an all-rounder, but even having that it factor can put you so far. That's why politics and capitalizing is important, and it would be difficult to succeed without it. The IOI curse is a perfect example of clout giving you opportunities, but if the company can't capitalize on it, then you stay stuck being unknown to many and amazing to a small few. Brave Girls were fortunate enough to receive the EXID treatment through their sleeper hit Rollin' in 2021. Being invited back onto music shows to perform their 2017 hit, they would garner so much relevancy and created more opportunities for them. Despite the success, there is a noticeable drop indicating them regressing their success. Brave Girls would also make an appearance on Queendom Season 2, however they have yet to make a comeback to capture the clout. I believe this regression is due to the continued use of their sad story. They have a unique story and should be able to express it through their music. However, Brave Brothers will need to show different sides to maintain audiences, as there is a gradual desensitization as they continue to milk it. Bugaboo are the only groups to not have an actual opportunity, as they were barely promoted, and so nothing made them different or get some form of viral treatment. STAYC would garner attention with their first comeback of ASAP. The oversaturation of Girl Crush meant that STAYC's bubblegum pop hit would be a refreshing change that gave interest for audiences to view. We can see the same thing happen to Weekly, as they would also garner much attention with their comeback after school. Black Eyed Peas would follow this up with consistent comebacks that continue to top each other for their concepts and addictive beats, and thus help make a name for STAYC. As explained in my video of the Queendom effect, many groups fall into an old group category and thus begin to receive little attention. Despite being a small company, all of the companies have had multiple groups debut, and thus label competition becomes a factor on whether they continue to receive the support or whether they become neglected instead. For Brave Girls' case, they fall under the older group category as Brave Brothers debuted DKB in 2020. Already into their third year, they have received consistent comebacks with at least 2 every year, while Brave Girls have only made 1 comeback in 2022. DKB have begun to slowly rise, but have yet to match Brave Girls' sales and success, and thus makes me question the lack of promotion for Brave Girls. On the opposite side, Bugaboo were actually the new group, as they had debuted VAV in 2015. VAV had the standard journey for a rookie group in a smaller company, in which they started off not performing well but continued to grow with consistent releases. Unfortunately, some members would then go to military enlistment, and from that, VAV have become more quiet. However, there has been news of them planning to make a return after each of the members come back from military enlistment. Once again, I question Ryan Junn's decision. The only major difference was that Bugaboo had a noticeable sales drop between the 2 releases. However, Bugaboo never matched the consistent releases of VAV, as they were given no chances from that lack of promotion. Black Eyed Pilsung had actually debuted a duo group named 415 in 2019. 415 were so low-key that they didn't receive much attention. They would also unfortunately disband in 2022, and thus makes STAYC the only group being managed. Once again, a good position for STAYC, as this allowed Black Eyed Pilsung to put their full attention to them. Final thoughts. Succeeding in an individual factor can only get you so far, but ultimately you will need the perfect combination of factors. Fortunately, STAYC was able to achieve them all pretty well and explains their rise even though High Up Entertainment is still relatively unknown. Brave Girls achieved one of these, and despite not being much considering there were 6 total factors, that weighting was significant to just boost their popularity. However, their future is not looking great for them, as they continue to slowly fade away. They have yet to reach their new plateau with their role in fame, as sales have not evened out yet, but it seems as though they may face old group syndrome and get less promotion as Brave Brother Entertainment focus more on DKB. And for Bugaboo, they just never got the chance, as they didn't match any of these factors, and with their disbandment, there is nothing else left for them. These factors help progress the success of groups in smaller companies faster if effective, and thus these K-pop producers who want to consider debuting a group with just good music should understand this and the risks that come with the oversaturation of K-pop. It is definitely getting harder to get a slice of that K-pop pie. But yeah, that's it for the video. Thanks for watching, and let me know what you think about my reasonings or anything you want me to talk about. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!